Good evening. My name is Nathan Polsky. Today is August 20th. It's currently 7:01 p.m. I am the campaign support director for the Libertarian Party of Texas. Today we are doing an interview with Neill Snider. He is running for Texas Commissioner of the General Land Office, also known as the Land Commissioner. So you know the format of the show. If you're just now tuning in, we are streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and on X. Hop into the chat if you have any questions or comments towards the end of the show. If we still have time, we will throw some curveballs to Neill and see how he knocks them out of the park. So before we spend too long on this right now, let's get kicked over. Neill, good evening.
Good evening.
Glad to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. And just like most times, not always, co-hosting tonight is David Fight. Say hello, David.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for coming on, Neill.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, Neill, you are running for the Texas Land Commissioner. Tell everybody, let's start off just who you are.
My name's Neill Snider. I'm from Waco, Texas, lifelong Waco resident. I've been a libertarian since the 1980s. Have run for state representative 4 times. First time in 2006, second in 2008, third in 2010, and fourth in 2012. And of those 4 times, the third time, I believe it was a two-way race between myself and a Republican. Got 21% of the vote, and that was the most percentage of votes I ever got, and I was real pleased with that.
That's awesome. So it's not your first rodeo.
No.
But you're coming back out of retirement. That's
right. Actually haven't run for office lately, and wanted to get back involved, and I really didn't want to run for a 2-year position, so I was interested in a 4-year position, and told Wes Benedict what I was interested in, and he gave me the opportunity to run for the commissioner of the General Land Office, and I accepted. And luckily at our state convention in Abilene, I got nominated, and I thank all the people at the convention for nominating me, and I'm looking forward to the election and hopefully be elected.
All right. We're hoping for it as well. All right. So let's get started then here. So Texas Land Commissioner or General Land Office Commissioner. For Texans unfamiliar with the office, which I don't know too many that are unfamiliar with it, like me, what does the General Land Commissioner actually do, and why should voters care who holds it?
When I got appointed to the position, I didn't know anything about the General Land Office either. And so I started doing some basic research, asking AI questions and stuff. And here's a little summary of what I came up with. The GLO was created December 22nd, 1836 by the Republic of Texas. And its founding purpose was to manage Texas public lands and oversee land grants. And then in 1845, a public school fund was created by the Texas Constitution, and it was funded in 1854 with $2 million. And today, the General Land Office responsibilities are basically, number one, land management, including public land oversight, negotiates leases and sales of the land, leases with oil and gas companies, the revenue that's generated from those leases and sales contribute to the state permanent school fund, which was initially named the public school fund, and they changed the name to the permanent school fund. It's also involved in disaster recovery and support. It's funding for disaster recovery. For instance, Hurricane Harvey did a bunch of damage, and the General Land Office contributed to rebuilding and helping out people after hurricanes or flood disasters. It also has veteran programs for Texas veterans, which includes discounted loans for buying homes and land, and also provides long-term care for veterans with retirement homes. Third responsibility is record keeping, maintains records of the land grants and titles of the state lands. Coastal management, it manages 3,400 miles of Texas coastline, and it's responsible for cleanup and storm recovery. Its annual revenue is between $250 and $500 million. Got different answers for how many employees it has, but I came to maybe approximately 761 employees. And that's just a brief.
Sure.
And
yes.
I was, this agency has been around since 1836, and I was surprised it really hasn't grown. There haven't been too many changes to the land office from what I could tell, and it hasn't grown all that much. One thing I was trying to find was how many employees did the General Land Office originally have?
Mm-hmm.
Did it have 10, and now it's 761?
Mm-hmm.
So that tell you, or just indicate the growth of a government agency.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So when government where government exists, the providing support for natural disasters, I can 100% get behind that. That is, is if there's not a voluntary group that can take care of it, and the government has to do something, all right, that's a reasonable thing. The buying and selling of public lands and the ownership of those public lands, that one's a little bit debatable as whether or not it should have that power at all. But I guess someone's got to have it.
Right. It manages 13 million acres in Texas, and you might bring that map up, or let me show you right here. I think all these 13 million acres are right out here in the Big Bend. They have Big Bench Ranch State Park.
Yeah, I can bring that map up real quick.
Yeah, there's two counties. Is it Brewster and Presidio? And it's the counties right down in the out in the Big Bend area, and there's 13 million acres out there, and apparently there's oil and gas on them. And I believe I saw a report where Don Buckingham was announcing that they've come across rare earth minerals out there, and they're signing leases and agreements to potentially mine those rare earth minerals.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if y'all have been out there, but it's pretty barren land.
It's our West Texas desert.
So does the GLO, does that oversee the state parks as well? Did you say?
I think that's managed by the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Okay. But I do think that one of the ideas I was just trying to come up with ideas for what we should do with the General Land Office, and was making sure we're maximizing all the leases and everything. And I was thinking, golly, we could rent to KOA or lease land to the KOA, a private organization, and get the government out of competing with them with state parks and stuff. But I've visited state parks and I really like them, so they're doing a good job doing that.
Honestly, yeah, I love the Texas State Parks Department. That's one of the reasons I kind of asked that question. Like, it's one of those few things that, like Nathan said, if government is to exist, especially if they're going to do it as well as Texas does it, some states don't have very good state parks. But I honestly think, to your point, the way that they have them in Texas, how big they are, and well, like, the roads through them are real roads and whatnot, and there's plenty of land in all of them. You could have a full KOA in just about all of them.
Right.
Obviously, there's a few like McKinney Falls or whatever that are tiny, but most of them are hundreds of acres, if not thousands. You can stick a couple of campgrounds in there without disturbing any of the trails or the wildlife or too much of that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. I visited KOAs also, and I enjoyed staying with KOAs.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Did quite a few road trips across the country with those as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What's my question?
Yeah, so what's your question? All right, we've got our second question here. We're going to kick it over to David.
How would you manage state lands and mineral rights to maximize returns for Texans while protecting private property and avoiding political favoritism? Hoo-hoo.
Yeah, I would make sure as far as the leases and the mineral rights, the mineral rights to mine these rare earth minerals, it's possibility they're going to do open pit mining and stuff like that. And when I was growing up, I'm 61 years old. And when I was growing up, at one time, the big scourge to the planet was mining. And yeah, mining's destructive, but we've learned a lot, and I believe we can do it more effectively and efficiently these days, where we're not damaging the environment as much. But yeah, with China having the somewhat of a monopoly on rare earth minerals, we've got to come up with rare earth mineral deposits here in the United States. And if that's the case out in Big Bend or that area, that there's a ample amount of rare earth minerals, we need to mine those as efficiently and effectively as possible to provide them to manufacturing throughout the United States. So
Yeah.
I would review the leases and everything, and make sure everything is as unencumbered with the companies that are setting up to mine, and just manage that they're doing it effectively and safely, and to the best that we can do it with the current technology.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's about the best you can ask for somebody in that type of a position. Just don't play political favorites and make the math
Of
make
course.
sense. And that, I don't know, that's the type of thing where the market already exists and it's just about kind of playing within it correctly.
I always love seeing those articles or those gifs or memes where people are talking about math or finances, and it's just like, did y'all graduate like elementary school? It's like, this math doesn't math properly. What are you doing?
Right. Oh, if my profession is, I'm a mechanical contractor, and I'm into construction, and we do, piping, small piping, and HVAC work and stuff like that. We're mainly focused on the manufacturing industry, but I have a lot of knowledge, and I believe I could bring that knowledge to the general land office, and really work with the engineers and the researchers that are managing the land and managing the construction projects that are going on. And I think I would excel in the all the construction aspects that the GLO is involved in. And one thing they also do is take care of orphan wells. Those are old, abandoned oil wells that the companies that originally owned them, the well went dry, the company went broke, and they weren't able to, secure the well to where it's not leaking, I think in particular methane from them. And so I would be real interested in that, and how we can do that more effectively and cost efficiently, capping orphan wells.
All right. All right. So earlier you had mentioned disaster recovery with Texas's role, the land commissioner's role with Harvey. So that leads us into our next question here. So the GLO administers billions in disaster recovery funds. How would you make recovery faster, less bureaucratic? That's important, and more transparent, also important, after hurricanes, floods, and wildfires.
Okay, just briefly looked into that, and apparently it looks like they give grants to maybe other agencies or something that is responsible for distributing that money. It's almost like, okay, if you're trying to get money to people right off the bat, yeah, here comes the identification, issue again. Set up this is just, a possibility. Set up, a website for the general land office. You submit your water bill, or maybe take voter rolls, and just make sure that there's not fraud going on where people are getting, maybe issue $1,000 debit card right off the bat to the people who are really in need, and get the money to the people like that as fast as you can, instead of going through some big grant program, going through another agency, and then a lot of that money gets used up just in the
Administrative
workings of those agencies, and then by the time the money gets to the people, there's not that much left. So I would try to make it a whole lot easier to get the money directly to the people.
Yeah, so cutting out that middleman there is you're cutting out the administrative overhead fees. You're cutting out any timelines or additional time required for them to process the funds and then to figure it out. Whereas if the land commissioner offices already has a way to do it directly, I'm down for that.
Maybe they're doing it now, but what I briefly read, it sounded like they're giving grants to, other organizations or, agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it all to HEB.
Yeah, exactly.
HEB will come in faster than the government to fix something.
Home Depot, HEB, Lowe's, they can haul, in hurricanes, everybody needs plywood and tarps. So, that's what they could, if they didn't need food, they needed building materials, they could use that $1,000, or hopefully we could make it more. So they could start buying construction materials and food just till, electricity gets restored and water gets restored, and things like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of just kind of like sending out a card, or like if we can do, basically everybody's got their one of their bank accounts hooked up to the government for like their tax return or whatever, to be direct deposited into, where it's just like, you hurricane hits, you draw the line on the map of like, all right, everybody in this circle was affected.
Right.
It genuinely doesn't matter if you got like just your basement flooded or your whole house got torn apart. That's not important right now. It's just, okay, these are the people affected. Let's make sure they have enough money in their bank account to like go out and get food and shelter for the night.
Right.
I think, just cutting out that middleman is a great idea.
Golly, I think about doing that with smaller populations, because, a lot of the, area on the Texas coast, there's, it's sparsely populated, but then you hit Houston or something. Yeah, that would be.
It would be a nightmare.
It could be done with today's technology. But, you got to look out for fraud and people getting cards that don't even live in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Well, with Flock, now we can know exactly who was in that radius.
Listen here, you. He knows my trigger. All right. Well, so speaking of coastlines, David, take it away.
How should Texas protect its coastline from erosion and storms while respecting private property rights and avoiding unnecessary government restrictions?
Okay. It's depending on what's being destroyed as far as, levees and dams and stuff. Yeah, that's obviously, something that needs to get restored as fast as possible. And that would definitely be, you know, it would be definitely a job for the GLO to get money to do. And yeah, as far as protecting private property rights, you know, if there, maybe if somebody's land also got destroyed and, you know, their land needs to be restored in order for a levee, you know, a government levee or dam that needs to be restored, I would think, you know, you would have to go ahead and take care of their land so you could get, you know, everything else taken care of. But I'm not, if you have an example of, you know, where the conflict with private property owners might come in, you know, I'm hoping to hear it, you know.
So let's say we have somebody owns property along the coast. They've got it. They want to build a beach house. They want to build something along the coast, but perhaps that is going to increase the chances of erosion.
Or like protect against it if they're like in a dangerous area. You kind of can't to properly protect it. In my mind, you would have to at some point in time sometimes come in and say, "Hey, you have to take these actions on your property, or else you're screwed." And if they say, I don't actually live there most of the year. If my beach house gets washed away, I don't care."
Well, that's their right. Yeah, you know.
There we go. There's the property rights.
There's the property rights question.
Yeah, as far as private homes getting destroyed, it's up to the people. And you know, I think I don't know if it's happening in Texas, but in like Louisiana, you know, I'm sure people are doing it in Texas, building in areas that are prone to flooding. And I'm not interested in, they are taking on their own risk and responsibility. And I don't think they should be compensated by the government for, you know, building in an area like that if they can. You know, I know insurance companies, you know, won't insure you if you're built in a dangerous area. But if they don't want insurance and they're okay with their house getting washed away, that's up to them.
They can afford to replace it if those are the if they're making that decision.
Right.
All right. So we are about halfway through our questions right now. If you're just now tuning in, if you've been sitting around for a bit, feel free to toss some questions into the chat. I do have a few here. Just first one is just a comment by Connor. I've heard that HEB has been able to provide disaster relief faster than governments are able to respond. Would you support simply leaving relief efforts to them and other private entities?
Oh, of course.
Why stand in the way?
Right. Hey, I'm seeing some questions come up here as far as property taxes, and the general land office has nothing that I know of to do with property taxes. However, when I was running as a state representative, my simplest proposal was to doing away with property taxes on your homestead, because we're not currently owning our own homes. We're basically renting from the government.
Right.
So that would be the simplest thing to do to give a lot of property tax relief.
Right. Yeah, I do have one here from, I believe this is your neck of the woods, Libertarian Party of McLennan County. Like Michael Jordan coming back wearing the 45. We are so glad to have Neill stepping up and putting his name on the ballot again. One question as well. The incumbent, Dr. Buckingham, was under some rightful fire for eminent domain issues with the Alamo. What is your stance on eminent domain?
Against it. I'm
against Got my vote.
That's the clip right there.
I am against eminent domain. Done.
Okay. Here's a topic, and I don't. Talking about building a border wall, and I think there might have been some talk that they were going to do it out in the Big Bend area or something. There was something recently in the news about that, and I wasn't sure if it was on the Big Bend National Park or the Big Bend State Ranch Park. yeah, if I'm for the landowners, and if the landowner doesn't want to build a wall on his property in, eminent domain, I'm against eminent domain for that person.
Mhm.
I am in favor of a secure border. I think there's a, few ways you can do that. And I've always been a proponent of possibly, and I think Governor Abbott did that with the Texas National Guard when the Biden administration wouldn't, help out on securing our borders. And I think, if I remember right, yeah, we were just trying to get reimbursed for, providing border security when that's a federal government job.
Yep.
So, yeah, I am in favor of a secure border, but I'm not in favor of using eminent domain on a person's property if they don't want that. But if that's a problem area, I have no problem with putting the Texas National Guard or Border Patrol or whoever, in that area to secure that,
Mhm.
crossing.
All right. All right. Let's get back here to some of our questions. I think I'm next up. All right. What role should the GLO play in oil, gas, renewable energy, and other development on state lands? And should any industry receive preferential treatment?
Oh, as far as any industry receiving preferential treatment, absolutely.
Subsidies, grants, anything else like that?
No, of course not. Oil and gas, yeah, I'm sure that they've got all that hammered out. Maybe we can streamline something in that. The renewable energy, I believe there are windmills and solar panels. And if the audience has a chance to watch the Landman rant on windmills, you can type that in, Landman rant on windmills. I agree that these windmills and solar panels, they are not green. They are an alternative source of energy. But I didn't realize this in that Landman rant. I know solar panels have a 15-year lifespan, but I didn't realize the windmills had a 20-year lifespan. But I do know the blades wear out quite frequently, and I guess they're fiberglass blades. And there's no good way to recycle those right now. And my knowledge is limited on windmills. If we could make them out of a recyclable material like aluminum, I'm sure it costs a whole lot more. Might not work as efficiently, maybe. But I think we might be able to come up with better ideas than these giant windmills that they currently have, especially since there's no good way to recycle them. And with the solar panels, you got a lot of toxic materials in the solar panels, and if they have a 15-year lifespan, I've read that there's no good way to recycle those right now either. So we're going to have landfills filling up with solar panels that are leaching, metals and bad stuff. So
Yeah.
If it's a question of national defense, having an alternative energy source, I'm in agreement with that, other than oil and gas. But we gotta figure out a better way, improving windmills or improving solar panels, or possibly coming up with recycling ways for these two non-green alternate sources of energy.
I think just eliminating these subsidies and grants will do away with most of them to begin with. Because that's the only way that most of them are being built, is because
they're forcing it. And if the technology was there and effective and efficient, there would be no requirement for the government to have to do anything. It would spread like wildfire naturally.
The good kind of spreading it like wildfire, not an actual
wildfire.
Not an actual one.
Right.
All right. Question number 6.
Question number 6.
The land commissioner chairs the school land board. How would you ensure state lands generate strong returns for public education without risking taxpayer assets?
Okay, when I first started doing the research on the general land office, the thing that caught my attention was the permanent school fund. And my immediate reaction, it's only for public schools. And my immediate thought, well, why not open it up to everyone? Private schools and homeschoolers. My wife and I homeschooled our children, and it's not cheap. And and I also was concerned about possible fraud. Not in the general land office at all. I'm sure they're doing the best they can with money, but downstream payments to these other organizations. And when I went into look at some of the companies' names and stuff, there's a lot of oil and gas companies on there, construction companies. And there was other organizations. I was kind of unsure what they were doing. And, they were getting 300,000 and more for, I'm unsure what they were doing with that, 20, they get a 300,000 grant, do 25,000 of what they say they're doing, and then give the other, 275,000 to who knows? I don't know. That was my first intuition to, kind of look into. But right now, what I found was $250 million in revenue, and that takes care of the permanent school fund. And I looked up how many school children are there in Texas, and public school children 5.5 million. Private school children, 300,000, homeschool children, 180,000. So it's approximately 6 million students. And I just basically took that 500 million, top revenue, and divided it by the number of, children in it. And, it came up to be $91. So $91 per child. And I was,
you can do a lot with that.
Right. And right now, do we have school vouchers going in Texas? I know, is that going in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was thinking, maybe they've done a little bit of it, but I think that would be a good source of money for school vouchers for anyone to use it for what, any school they want to go to, including homeschooling. So, I'd try to boost up revenue as much as I could to get more money going into supporting Texas school children.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Supporting all children, regardless of the type of education they choose.
Yes.
The better we educate them, the more likely they are to grow up to be libertarians. So it's like
yes.
This is why public
it's a
schools
selfish
don't want
mission.
to educate them. All right. We've got one last question here, and then we'll go back to the chat. This one's going to be over to David.
There we go. All right. The GLO oversees the Veterans Land Board. How would you ensure veterans receive useful services while keeping the programs efficient and accountable?
Yes, I definitely want to take care of Texas veterans. And I wouldn't make any changes to that other than improving, the efficiency and effectiveness of the money they receive. And, the GLO is providing discounted loans to Texas veterans for land and houses. And, you're getting into competing with private banks. Maybe they work with private banks, but, private banks are more efficient than government. So I would maybe take a look at integrating private banks and if the bank has a reasonable interest loan, then I would say, okay, Texas, get an interest of half that amount, and we would possibly, work with the bank to provide that money to the Texas veterans. But no, I would definitely take care of the Texas veterans in retirement homes, because I don't want to disturb any families with veterans that are in retirement centers.
Mhm.
All right. Got to take care of those veterans.
Yes, and another thing, well, let's do away with these endless wars, and maybe we won't have any more Texas veterans to take care of.
Amen to that.
For sure. I was just about to say, as long as we're got wars going on nonstop, we're gonna have veterans. So
I'm
take care of them.
61 years old, and we've been bombing everybody my whole life, and I'm sick of it.
All right. We've got a couple comments and questions here in the chat. This one's a pretty solid one by Yohanan. As a libertarian running statewide in Texas, what would you say to a Republican voter who agrees with you on taxes and property rights, but asks why they should vote for you instead?
Okay, my entire existence as a libertarian, I've always heard you're wasting your vote. Libertarianism, it can't work. And it's not easy being a libertarian. But, and people, they tell me I'm wasting my vote, but, look at that headline. Who's wasting their votes?
$40 trillion.
That was headlines today. $40 trillion in debt. And that has been created by both Republicans and Democrats. And if people want to keep voting for that, well, we're going to get 80 trillion in debt here before long. So I have friends, and they sympathize with me, and they vote libertarian sometimes, but they're predominantly Republicans and Democrats. So I do my best that I can to persuade them to vote libertarian, and I believe I have. So just look at what's going on right now. And if you want to keep voting for Republicans and Democrats, well, then it's going to be same old, same old. If you want a change, start voting for libertarians at the least. Hopefully we can get some other political parties that aren't filled with socialists and communists or incompetent Republicans that can't fight their agendas, because government has only grown under both Republicans and Democrats. Republican presidents have exploded the federal government more than Democrats. Yep. So if everybody wants big government, I guess Republicans and Democrats are who you need to vote for. If you want freedom and peace and prosperity, then vote libertarian.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that one. And that's a common question I get as well, is nobody, I usually tell people, neither party deserves my vote. They do not own my vote. If me choosing to vote libertarian does not mean I'm taking away the vote from the Republicans. I wasn't going to give it to them in the first place. I would leave an empty ballot rather than vote for somebody who was a terrible candidate. So run better candidates. Until they do, vote libertarians.
Right.
Yes.
Force them to run better candidates. All right. We got, talking about the Veteran Land Office. For veterans, by veterans, to employ veterans, helping veterans. I think veterans being involved in the whole process.
Oh, yes. Of course. Great idea. I love it.
And then we've got here one last one that just popped up. Yes, end the endless wars. Thank you, Paul. Nobody likes more wars than Republicans and Democrats.
Apparently.
Oh. That one snuck in there. All right. All right. David, you got any other last questions for Neill before we start wrapping this up?
You know I do.
I always know you do.
Neill, how can people find out more about you, donate to support your campaign, sign up to volunteer? What types of volunteers do you need? What events are you doing? Tell people how they can get involved.
You can visit my website, Vote Neill Snider, and make voteneillsnider.com and make a donation. I'm in Waco. We're handing out or going door to door, putting hangers on the door. If you want to, if you want to get involved, it takes money. You got to buy some materials, signs, door hangers, everything. It's fun. I love being a libertarian. I love being a libertarian more these days than I ever have been. And I've used majority of my own money to run every time. But it takes money to, get involved and buy signs and material and distribute it. But it's fun. I enjoy running for office, and I enjoy campaigning.
Awesome. Well, before we head out for the evening, is there anything else that you would like to say? Any shout outs? Like David asked as well, do you have any upcoming events?
Possibility, he mentioned events. I filled out the paperwork to have a booth at the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo. It's a big rodeo in Waco.
Nice.
And I haven't heard back from them. I'm not sure if we're going to get a booth. They might have already be sold out. But and I would hope it's open to all libertarian candidates. It's from October 8th to October 18th, 10 days. And it's open to all libertarian candidates if they want to come stand at the booth and help.
Awesome.
And it's always a fun event. If we don't get a booth there, come on out, because I always enjoy going to the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo.
Nice.
I don't think I've never been to one of those. I've only been to a rodeo, I think, once, maybe twice, and I've been in Texas my entire life.
I was gonna say, are you even a real? I've been to more rodeos in Texas than you have. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not really wasn't my scene growing up in the city. Well, all right. Well, thank you, Neill, for joining tonight.
Yeah. In my closing comment, if elected, I look forward to working with people at the GLO. I'm excited, and I think we can do some really good stuff.
Nice.
All right, great. So that's going to wrap it up here for us today. Again, if you are just now tuning in towards the end of the hour on any of our platforms, so again, Facebook, X, YouTube, go back and watch the video from the beginning. Afterwards, you'll see how Neill's knocking everything out of the park here. Follow him on. Are you on social medias at all, or just a website?
No, don't do social media. Just
all right.
Have the website.
Go to his website, sign up, donate, get involved with his campaign, spread the message. Again, Neill, thank you very much for joining us. David, thank you again for co-hosting.
All right, thank you all, and good luck with your campaign, Nathan.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Good evening.